Simon, can you tell us about England and Thanet?
England means land of the Angles. The old people that lived here were Anglo. There's another name called Albion, which actually translates in English, not English, but English, if you turn the words around a little bit, to all be one. It's all about King Arthur legends. In different mystery schools, they know this. The people who named the names of your streets, your towns, your countries, have named them for a reason. The pictures that form an image in your mind's eye is how you subconsciously think about each of these places when you go there. You won't be aware of it most of the time because you're just going to, say, a town with a name. Like, for example, you come to my town in Thanet, which is Broadstairs. You just call it Broadstairs. But why was it called Broadstairs and who called it Broadstairs? You have to understand a deeper history. 2,000 years ago, this was known as the Isle of Light to the Druids, and only the dead kings of Albion were buried here. All be one. King Arthur stuff. Now, when Julius Caesar 2,000 years ago arrived on the Isle of Thanet, he named it Thanos, not after a Latin word, but a Greek word, Thanos meaning death. This is a very interesting thing to point out, because the towns on this island are the Broadstairs the heaven, a village at the top called St. Peter's. In Christian mythology, St. Peter is the gatekeeper of heaven, Simon Peter. I've unlocked the gate. On one side is Ramsgate, Ram, Ra, Ares, Eros, god of heroes, lovers, farmers, and guardians. On the other side is not Ram, but Ma. Ma is a Roman god, but Ram spelt backwards. Mars Gate. Now, this is a god of warriors. Warriors think of the word war, and therefore are always attracting it, because they worry. These points are very symbolic in the sacred landscape of this isle, which, as I said, was Thanos, a Greek word, because the ancient mystery schools knew that the world is always growing. Like you grew from a small boy or girl to an adult, so is the world. So is our Mother Earth. And this is why the continents spread, and you can see how they once all fixed together. So this area is what the ancients in the Greeks would call Hades, the Isle of Death. Now, I'm an angle of Thanos. You could argue an angel of death. But death is not to be feared. It's just change. Every moment has died to create you now. So you boldly, always boldly, a brave heart, like a lion or a tiger or a jaguar, or any of these great, majestic beasts that are symbols of the divinity, the solar power, the head of the food chain, walking through a reality. Now, you are all the same as me. Remember, in the old mythology of this land, Anglia, it was the King Arthurian legends. Camelot. Let's say the word came the lot. Everyone came together, like Albion, all be one. Let's say the sword in the stone, Excalibur, was the Roman Empire placing their symbol of control in various ley line points around our land. Think about it. Your body, according to yoga, Chinese medicine, has energy lines they call meridians or nadis that run through your body. So does the earth. We call them ley lines. In the East, in Feng Shui, they'll call them dragon lines. If you place positive symbols, like a Sacred Heart of Jesus, like any symbol of good, at these ley points, this will bring very good energy. The image affects our subconscious mind, and therefore it creates the atmosphere of the landscape around us. The opposite is to put negative symbols, such as a tortured avatar on an altar where people gather weekly to drink his blood and eat his flesh in a vampiric way. Rather than trying to become a great avatar conscious being. They're trying to vampirically feed off it. Now, what I'm saying is seems controversial, but if we could understand the sacred geometry of our landscape and put positive images, I mean, all around Westminster in London, you'll see pictures, statues everywhere of war. The war cabinet is right by number 10 Downing Street, just up the road from where all the politicians are at Westminster. Therefore, they're being subconsciously programmed for war constantly without even being knowing it. Change it to the opposite. Positive symbols, peacemakers, great artists, great lovers of life. Show positive symbols on these areas in England, and it will create an amazing change, a noticeable change, but a beautiful change. Paint the churches and the temples, make them vibrant colours. Welcome all symbols of good, goods and goddesses, gods and goddesses, all great beings that have done amazing things in our past history that have inspired countless generations to respect them. Now, say if an avatar turned up and he was all alone, he was surrounded by beggars wanting to leech off him, drink his blood and eat his flesh. He would have a hard job saving the world. But if he, on the opposite way, could wake everyone up to this consciousness of avatar consciousness, this Buddha consciousness, this Bodhisattva consciousness, Christ consciousness, this Superman consciousness, don't matter what you want to call it, but we all wake up and realize we change the definition of our species. Now, I changed my definition because I know myself. I don't call myself a human, which is really a code that is imprinted on you, who man. You're a lost soul, a lost philosopher's question. You don't know the meaning of life, but you were told by it by your parents, your education system, because they had been ingrained this belief system. As soon as you put yourself as a higher life form, angel, Elohim, Anunnaki, elf, by thinking that, you change your definition. You change yourself. You evolve yourself. It's easier to see the meaning of life. It's just heaven making, paradise projecting on everywhere you are and everything that you're doing, having a really good time, making sure others are having a good time as well. But you're strong. You're powerful. You put down bullies, tyrants, evil, the wicked. The simplest way is by exposing them. Put a vampire in the light, it fries. When I tell you the meaning of words that have been named like politics, poly, it simply means many, and a tick. What is a tick? A blood-sucking parasitical insect that lives off a bigger organism. But these are the symbols that are in your subconscious mind. You don't realize it, but it affects you like a hypnotherapist does. This is the truth of all the names, our country, the language. We've got to sort of turn things around to the positive and understand the real meaning behind the constructs of the words. Because in the beginning there was the word, and that created the definition of us. A who man is always lost and wandering around. The people who understand magic, they know who they are. They give themselves the names of either angels or demons, depending on what side of the force they're on. Obviously, I take the name Vishnu, which is a symbol of the protector, preserver of all that is good. That's what I satyanted it all over my body to help even create this image stronger in my mind every time I'd see it, and other people when they would see it. Like law of attraction, if you've ever read The Secret. So, start looking around you. What are the names of your roads, your streets? You can turn anything into a positive, but you'll start to see how empowered you are, because at the end of the day, all these streets, all these towns, these countries, this world was named by people in mystery schools that understood magic, and they understand how to make a word, a spell, a sigil that will affect things every time a person thinks of it. So be aware. Think magically. Thank you for listening.
I think Rob had a question.
I wouldn't like to take this guy to court.
If you'd like to take me to court, that's fine. I'll just stand there and tell you my feelings and explain things to you. But I'll go calmly and with just love in my heart. I'm always bold. There's always angels protecting me, both in this world and in the invisible world. I believe in magic, that's why I'm covered in these Satyant tattoos. It's all an image, really, that's all magic is. But, you know, be careful how you treat me. Treat me with respect, you'll bring the best out of me and my crew. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon.
Peace, love, heaven making. May that be your path.
Thank you, Simon.